Well, hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, all over the world. Dobson777a here. Very interesting article I talked about in my last video, but I'm looking at an article right here. This was on January 30th. India plans to introduce a law to ban private cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin in the country and provide a framework for the creation of an official digital currency during the current budget session of Parliament. Now, the funny thing is, I have been saying over and over and over again, governments are not going to allow these cryptocurrencies to compete with their sovereign currencies. And there will be one day they'll just ban the thing, and all of a sudden they're going to say, here's what you need to use. In the US, we've heard rumors of like FedCoin or something else, but you're going to see this in all of these countries. They do not like competition. I've heard a lot of things about these cryptos originally generated to siphon off money from China and other places, but I think they've served their purpose now, and we're probably going to see them shut off. So I don't know how that's going to work, but if all of a sudden you can't redeem your cryptocurrencies, you essentially are holding something of zero value. That's going to be the problem. It's essentially demonetized. So I hope you understand, and this is why I always say, don't put all your eggs in one basket. I think it's okay to throw a few pieces of equivalent to silver out in different places and see what happens. Plant a seed, see if it grows. By the way, in my premiere that I did a couple hours ago, somebody in North Georgia here was telling me that it was snowing there. And where I was sitting here, it was, I wasn't paying attention. And after the show, I went and looked out and man, it's snowing a lot here. We were supposed to get a half inch of rain tonight. And if I'm calculating this correctly, I think if it turns into snow, that whole half inch, I think that's equivalent to a foot of snow, which would be a heck of a lot of snow for this area. I think I've only been here when there's 4 or 5 inches, so this would be a lot in comparison. So I can't wait to see how that works out. It's actually sticking to the ground now. Originally it was melting, but air temperatures dropped to 35, and I'll have some videos that I'll put in. If I do a video tomorrow, I'll drop it in there so that you can see the snow. It's very pretty. Might actually go build a snowman tomorrow. We'll see what it looks like. Sure wish my grandkids were up here. They love that. So anyways, what's on y'all's mind? I did a whole bunch of charts for you over the last couple days to show you where we're at, where we're going. A lot of people are all hyped up about the death cross, but you got to remember, even with breakouts, you have to wait till it's kind of confirmed. These death crosses aren't necessarily a guaranteed thing. But right now, based on my chart, the 50-week moving average or gold price has crossed to that point. And that's typically a buying point. So I see Edgewater Heating went and picked up 2 gold eagles. So good for him. That's always a excellent entry point when it does this, but nobody knows. We're not privy to what the government's doing and how they're setting this price. But if it follows the glide path that I showed you in the pitchfork, I would say that we're at a low right now, and this is the point you should be able to pick up. Yeah, man, I'm glad to see that. Get you a fantastic amount of gold. And if you can, get that platinum too, although platinum premiums are pretty sky high right now. Hope you don't mind. I did get me some ice cream just before I started the show, because every once in a while my throat butter pecan is one of my favorites, and I put a little chocolate syrup on there to help it out. I always like butter pecan because it's creamy. I plan to do a video too where I'm going to highlight all of these people encouraging to go out and get silver when it was sky high there. And all these people were bragging about how many ounces they got when it was freaking paying like $40 an ounce. And I just want to show all of these people that are actually representing dealers and what it does to your pocketbook when you're overpaying like 30% premiums and stuff. It's insane. Yeah, unfortunately, owed MMC, I keep trying to harp on this for everybody to understand that there's manufactured silver, which is the coins and bars, and then you have the industrial silver, which is good delivery bars, which are, I think they're 1,000 ounce. But anyways, I went out there and I showed in one of my recent videos, you can get all the 1,000 ounce bars you want, and they're readily available. Now they're $32,000, but and there's very little markup on them comparatively. It's 15% markup, which is what the typical silver was for Eagles in the past. Jim Richter's in the house. We can start now. Yeah, 1,000 ounce. So I do not see any shortages at all. Just remember, the mints are kind of just in time. And so they have these, I might not have the terminology right. There's these blanks that are made by some of the, I don't know if they're other mints or what, but there's these, you have to get the blanks and then they go to the mints and then the mints can make the coins. And sometimes they don't have ample supplies, and it's because there's ebbs and flows in the purchasing of a lot of folks. Oh, Sunshine Mint makes them, yeah. I remember seeing something about that, but it's kind of a private mint. And I will do this as well. I told you guys that I did not think that they could do anything about the silver price. I also told you they really couldn't do much with the GameStop because there's just too many ways out of that. And you could see that collapsed back into single digits. I did see an article where it looks like they were taking another run at it, but this is a game for the big boys, especially with the high-speed computers and everything. You can't win on this. So that was just a little skirmish. The war, I think, has already been won by the big guys. So we'll see how it plays out. But I'd be real careful playing in those areas. Yeah, $34 doesn't sound like a bad price for the bars. The only reason why I've ever bought the Eagles is because of it has to do with the reporting requirements. There's no minimum or maximum quantity buy or sell that gets reported. So it's an honor system for you to report to the IRS, but as long as you're, transferring money through a like bank wire or electronic check or something like that, I don't think you can do cash up to a certain amount. I think it's $10,000. Less than $10,000, there's no reporting. So all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think uranium is something I'm going to have to put on the radar. I may actually add it to my ETF. What do you call it? On my where I have gold, platinum, silver, and real estate, I'll go ahead and add uranium on there, and we'll follow it and see how it's doing for the year. It's made a little bit of a run, but it's got a long ways for a substantial breakout. But obviously, if you want to be a contrarian investor, it might be something to look at. But right now, remember, we've got these, the clowns are back in office, and they're going to be pushing wind and solar and not nuclear power plants. So no, I don't think that's the case. Millions of new stackers were born, especially when they saw the price collapse after they bought it. You probably just pissed off a bunch of stackers. That's the way that works. Yeah, uranium has done a little bit of work. Tinfoil hat, why don't you go buy some uranium eagles? I'm just kidding. It's radioactive. You don't want that. I don't think they make eagles in that, but just kidding. It'd be glow in the dark, though. Wouldn't be hard to find them. I'm not convinced we're going to have a platinum pullback. Did anybody see my video that I released today and to the members the day before about rhodium? How somebody had bought 1 ounce of rhodium back in 2017, and he just traded in for 20 ounces of gold because rhodium's like $21,000 right now. It's insane. So think about it. I mean, platinum could do that, right? Platinum could jump way up there before gold and silver could ever do that. Sorry, I'm sitting here eating ice cream in front of you, but I wanted to try to get my show done early. I'm tired. Yeah, I talked about the inflation prices of gold and silver if they were to adjust to historical inflation of, using real inflation like shadow stats, and, it could indicate gold in excess of $20,000, silver in excess of $1,000, that kind of stuff. And if it did, I can only imagine what platinum would be. McIlvaney and them are always trying to hope for a pullback because they like to load up on more. What's funny, if you look at my pitchfork chart on gold this past summer, when I said, hey, look, gold is like way overheated on the chart. So unless we were doing a reset where we're going to jump up 10% and go on another line, it was more than likely going to pull back, and it did. But it's now at the bottom of the chart, and I expect it's going to go up now. $18 degrees. It's 35 here. I got both of the fireplaces going, so it's nice and toasty in the house. I'm sorry I was eating in front of you, but I had to get rid of that ice cream. It was turning into a milkshake. Yeah, McIlvaney. I couldn't remember who it was. That was an interesting story. Edgewater, where are you at again? I thought you were in Florida, and you're saying it's 18 degrees there. I'm in North Georgia, and it's 35 here. Oh, Cleveland. Okay. Yeah, this student loan forgiveness is ridiculous too. That could definitely be trillions. Ted Butler's research on silver. I don't sounds familiar, but I'm gonna tell you right now, I've got a video. Look up on, all you gotta do is Google search like silver lies, myth truth, or misstatements, half truths or something, and you'll see my take on it. Most of this stuff is these people that have talked about silver are they're manufactured propaganda. It's really just propaganda. That's the best way to say it. So I've done independent research. Yeah. Oh, so I'm glad you brought that up, Oak MMC. There is a substantial, unbelievable, across the country, basically, more than half the country going to be in the deep freeze. Durfman, you are correct. Do not put all your eggs in one basket, folks. Remember, I'm prepping the crap out of everything. I'm growing food, animals. I've got real estate, precious metals, you don't put all your eggs in one basket. And you definitely, canned food as well. So let's see, belief about keeping cash in banks. It depends. I mean, you got to have cash to pay bills. So I do have cash for my business account for the rental properties. I've got cash for paying my bills every month, but I try to keep as much money out of my hands as possible because I need it to be working for me. So that's something you need to think about. But everybody should have some amount of cash. I would say at your house, you should have at least, actually, I should say, it depends how many people you have that you got to take care of, but you ought to have a couple of weeks worth of cash at home anyways, in the event, things break down and, none of the machines are working, bank holidays, that kind of stuff, that you can still go get food and stuff. Yeah, Carlos has one of the ideas is there's actually a couple different ways to do this. You can make sure that you create some kind of collection, because a lot of times collectibles are not confiscatable. You can definitely do some kind of jewelry. You can do a lot of different things. Yeah, the problem with the FDIC, folks, is if we had a substantial failure of the banks, they got pennies on the dollar available to cover all the deposits. So, and then if we move into substantial inflation, if you have a lot of cash, you're just watching that cash evaporate. So that is the way you have to think about it, is cash is for immediate transactions. It's for also in the event, I mean, I used to live in Florida, you'd have hurricanes, right? So if a hurricane came through, you might lose a car, you might lose your house, and you got to think about your deductibles for these things. And so you got to have that cash set aside, and you also, may lose your job for quite a period of time. So you got to have some emergency funds that's pretty liquid. But precious metals can be converted as well. So if you had precious metals, it could be increasing in value, but also could be converted in the case of emergencies. So, all right, I got some other questions here. Let's see if we can get this. British are taking negative rates. U.S. will follow. Glint Pay is a good place to stash cash and have a credit card. I don't know what that is. Stores will close. We'll see. What price would you consider selling silver to swap it to gold? There's a couple different gold silver ratios. I need to go pull that back up, but I've got some charts that I can show you historically what they recommend. And I think it's like 45 to 1 is when you convert. Richter's saying 40 to 1, but I think it was like 45 if you look at the history. If you try to go below that, you're potentially might get stuck. So think about that. So 40 to 45 is roughly the number that I look at. And the doctor refused to take cash. Well, there's a reason why doctors are doing it. They're looking at it from like contaminated money for currency for COVID type stuff. So that's probably why they're doing it. There was a short period of time up here, like some of the landscapers and stuff didn't want to handle cash, and then everybody just realized that was dumb. Yeah, that's the real problem. When silver peaks, it does it awfully fast, and you have to be Johnny on the spot. So, I've always told everyone that you have to kind of sell into the parabolic. Otherwise, you are going to be stuck with like $50 silver. A lot of people are going to be buying all the way up, which is a mistake. Should have been buying a while ago. Buying now is a mistake because there's too many times these have been false run-ups, and then it's like another 10 years before you have a chance. So just be real careful. Well, you may not trade silver for gold. You may want to go buy some real estate. You may want to, do something else. The idea is you want to try to trade an overvalued asset to an undervalued. You might be able to go pick up a short sale or something else. I think there's still plenty of gold out there. I haven't seen any shortages on gold. So what's holding gold back? I think gold ran up really fast because we were going to go straight into another stimulus package, and then they end up delay it. And I think they saw what was happening to the gold, and they intentionally had to delay it. Now you're going to see this stimulus package come out, and there may be other things that they do, like, somebody just mentioned above, the forgiving student loan debts and stuff, and that's just transferring that debt over to the Treasury, which means you printed a bunch of money again, so our currency. So all these things, I forget who it was that did a video last year, and he just said, look, these first stimulus things that came out, these are just like ripples in a pond. Wait for it. It's going to be a tidal wave, because they're going to print to try to make everybody think that the government is helping them with the inflation that we're going to see. It's going to be stupendous inflation. I don't know, but that's kind of what they're predicting. So the idea is the only thing you can protect yourself is that I'm aware of easily is with either like real estate or these precious metals and miners. Yeah, the dollar had taken quite a crap lately, and now it's bounced up a little bit. So we'll just have to see. Penny Pension Prepper is in the house. Let me read off some of these names, because we got an active group here. Oh man, Silver Retard, what a name. ODMMC, Edgewater Heating, Mr. Action One, Tinfoil Hat, Jim Richter, DW. I already did that. Parabuilding. Jeff Flaherty. Carlos Alfonso. Tribune O'Plebs. Trying to see if there's anybody else I missed here. Jesse Tuihi, probably not pronouncing that right. Durfman. Fred Wozniak. Man, there's a bunch of comments here. Brick 22. Jared Payne. Let me also go back to this. Good luck finding gold when you want to trade silver for gold. If you follow my recommendation from the beginning now, this is going back almost 2 years ago, I said, consider buying 80% gold, 20% silver. And then I modified it when I did all my research on platinum, which is only just a few months later. And I said, I think you ought to consider 70% gold, 10% platinum, and 20% silver. And I've been sticking by that. And if you do that, then it's not like you're going to necessarily have to take a bunch of silver and roll it into gold. But if you can, great. Otherwise, consider trading for platinum, or consider trading for one of the other metals that you think might do something. Aftermath. Let's see. RJ Studio. He says, hello, dear. You are the best. I follow your videos. Thank you for your time. Okay, so who's getting rent? All right, so look, I actually have a number of videos about single-family home rentals, which I do. And it's time for me to update, because people, 2 years ago when I was doing those videos says, you're crazy. You're not going to, when this all falls apart, you're not going to be able to collect your rent and everything. And I've been honest with you guys. even this year, I've only had 1 out of 5 rentals that people have struggled a little bit, and they're only behind, I think, 2 months rent, but they're making payments, and I think we're going to get caught up. So when I looked at some of the articles out there, that's what they were saying. It's 20% of the folks are struggling, but most of them, I think you're going to be able to get through the thing. So I have been, I guess my statistics are adding up with what I'm seeing out there. Now, if you are in commercial's getting killed. I decided not to do commercial, even though one of my investment advisors that I'd used in the past was buying up commercial land in Florida, hand over fist. And I just told him, I said, look, people always have to have a place to live, but businesses don't necessarily need to do like what you're doing. And I felt like I was doing something a lot safer, maybe not nearly as lucrative, but safer. And I have, I think I'm come out ahead. And even my properties are not in the big cities. The big cities, most of the big cities are suffering, where the rural areas, this is the areas people are paying a premium to buy these. So even my property values are holding up fantastically. So I've bent over backwards to try to help my tenants when they're good tenants. If they're bad tenants, if they're serious screw ups, if, you know, God's sake, if they get involved in drugs or whatever, they're out of there. But if they're good people, you know, everybody has troubles, and I would want them to treat me, you know, the way that I'm treating them. And so I've had one tenant a couple years ago got into all kinds of trouble, and he got behind like $12,000, and there was a lot of damage to the place. It was not necessarily his fault. He had somebody else that he'd subletted that made it kind of his fault, but he ended up paying all that money back. And he's been a great tenant, but that's not normal. So I've only had a couple really bad tenants, and most of them, I've been doing this a long time, since like 1984, I think. So a long time I've been doing this. And it's all about doing the screening. If you do the appropriate screening, you typically are going to come out ahead. Yep, like Jim Richter says, treat the tenants well, they'll treat you well. That's what I'm doing. And definitely no free lunch. AGAU man is in the house. He says he couldn't get his girlfriend to stop talking. Tell him damn Dobson's on. We got to listen to him. So look, when times were good, the rents were going up regularly. And when times go bad, they will go down slowly. Kind of like the way oil prices, you'll notice they're kind of sticky. They go up really fast, and then they're sticky on the way back. That's what you have to kind of do with your rents. Because I'm telling you, a lot of times the dang real estate taxes and insurance and everything, those things do not go down. So don't cut your throat. Can't have it's not a, what do you want to call it? They're not a charity. You can't write these people off. The witness is in the house. I can't argue with that, Jared. He's saying Reddit guys won't be able to break silver market, but at least get the crowd paying attention to the metals, and it will rocket in the future. So look, if all of a sudden India shoots down Bitcoin, there's a lot of money in Bitcoin that's going to have to find the exit, because they're going to see that, crap, you know, they didn't think this could happen, right? But if Bitcoin gets demonetized, that's going to be a wake-up call for these guys. And I'm going to tell you, look, I don't know why I know these things, but it's just to me is common sense. I think like, you know, a businessman, and I understand how the government operates, and it's just common sense to me that they don't want competition against their currency. So you just watch. They're going to do a test case in India, and then they're going to go, wasn't it India last year that eliminated, was it like $100 bills or something? There was something they did. It was a few years ago. Well, so RJ Studio is asking if we'd ever get out of Afghanistan. Look, Trump was pulling everybody out of everywhere. He was pulling everybody home. But guess what? We changed regimes and we're back into with all the defense companies are running the country again. So I think we're probably going to be in all kinds of wars again. I mean, they're already talking up Russia and everything. It's crazy. Did you notice oil prices? It's kind of funny, right? They always knock the price down before an election, and then it always goes up after the election. So gas has been up around here, and it's cheaper here than in a lot of the rest of the country. But I think we're up in the 220s now, and I think we were in the 180s before the election. I don't think the crackdown on crypto is going to trigger the great crash, but it's people. There's a lot of money that's going to have to scramble to figure out where it's going to go now. I mean, I got a feeling if any other countries jump, and I mean, I don't know how much money is. I guess that would have to be some research. You know, how much money have Indians from India put into cryptos? And if that's going to be backed out, then I mean, India's got couple billion people probably. I don't remember off the top of my head, but a lot of people. And so if all of a sudden that money's backed out, you start all of a sudden, you know, China starts doing it, and you know, you got a couple more billion people, and it starts snowballing, and pretty soon it's going to be a problem. Well, what happens is it's really demonetized. SB, if they ban it where they say none of the stores or anybody can transact with Bitcoin or any other crypto, it's essentially been demonetized. So it doesn't really matter. You're just going to have to take your money and go invest it in another country before they close the door in another country. But that's the problem. I mean, if you've only got, I mean, even $10,000, there ain't a whole lot you can buy in another country with $10,000. So. Name something that's half the price it was in 1980. Well, I could say computers. I worked at Texas Instruments when the first computers were being rolled out there, and good golly, Miss Molly, they were expensive as hell. And then now you think about what you get something that is probably 10,000 times more powerful for the same price. But, you know, remember, silver is free to mine. Everybody wants to ignore that. It's free to mine because more than 80% of it is a byproduct. It's mined as a byproduct. It means they're trying to get copper and lead and zinc out of the ground, and silver just comes with it. It's free. Yeah, a lot of I'd have to go and do some homework. I mean, even oil is not correlated to inflation at all. Yes, I agree. Gas and oil, there's a lot of variability for it. I would like to see some of these things break out, but I'm just going to tell you, I kind of remember what we're doing as a form of insurance. We're also trying to play contrarian type investing, but it's also currency insurance. If all of a sudden you see gold 20,000 and you see silver 1,000 or something, it is not going to be a good world, folks. I've talked about before, when you went from 1970 to 1980, that is when both family members really had to work now, because it took both incomes in the family to survive. So what are you going to do now? If prices double, triple, quadruple, it's like everybody's already working. What are you going to do? It's going to be a problem. It's going to be a major problem. The only thing you can do is have multiple generations moving into the same house together. I have not had a chance to watch Mike Lindell's video. I've seen several other videos talking about this, but I have not watched that. And I have seen Carlos, I've seen all of these comparisons, like years ago, you could buy a good suit with an ounce of gold, and so much for the, gallon of gas, same thing with quarters and stuff. I've seen all of that. Those are not 100% true all the time, because there's ebbs and flows in these prices. So you can't count on it. It absolutely seems to be something that is a general rule of thumb, but not 100%. Yeah, the fourth turning video, I'm actually familiar with the book and everything, and there's actually the timing on that is very difficult, but the fourth turning, I think everybody should go. I can't remember the name of the actual book, but that is something that it looks like we're going through this right now. Yeah, it might be not even necessarily to defend the house, but we may be going back to living more like the 1800s, where you're going to have a massive garden to supplement, because you're not going to be able to afford food. It's going to be more like Venezuela to some extent. Yeah, Neil Howe, that's it. For the about the turnings. I wish I could remember the saying. There's a saying about like strong men create good times create weak men create bad times, and then it takes strong men to turn it back around again, or something. That's off the top of my head, but that's kind of what the whole fourth turning stuff is about. Ring that bell's helping me out. Remember this stuff. Ode MMC. We got a lot of smart subscribers. That's why I like this, because I don't ever forget anything. I just don't have timely recall. Yeah, the only problem with the platinum right now, at least with the Eagles, the premiums are sky high. I think I was looking the other day, it's like 30%. Sky high. It's like $1,400 an ounce to go buy Eagles right now. The witness is in the house. So the witness, I actually talked about that in my video today. Will we return back to a gold standard? I would love to say that we have our currency linked to something, but will we actually be carrying, silver and gold coins in our pockets? I doubt it. But they may end up linking our currency to some kind of gold standard. That would be awesome if they did. In the past, it was like 40% backed or something. So we'll see. There you go. All right. So here's the saying I was trying to remember, and I got it somewhat close. Hard times make strong men make good times. This thing is scrolling on me. I'm trying to read it. Good times make weak men, and weak men make hard times. Yep. I think I kind of said that. Yeah, the Harry Dent super cycle. I've read some of his stuff as well. They all kind of along the same lines. Yeah, I'm going to tell you there's a reason why we do Eagles. I probably need to go back through that again, explain to you that it has to do with the reporting requirements. Yeah, SDR is. I think that's one of the ideas that they're going to do, strategic drawing rights. But I think Trump was trying to fight all that. I don't know that it can be stopped now. Looks like everything's back on track to just let China run the world. So Jared is just showing up here. I started the show talking about India is in the process of creating legislation to ban cryptos, especially Bitcoin. And India, I wish I could remember. If one of you guys can do the research while I'm talking here, how many people live in India? I mean, it's like 1 billion at least, right? So I don't know how many people are invested in Bitcoin over there, but that's a big chunk of people that all of a sudden, no, we're not going to do cryptos here. And then they're going to release their own government digital currency. So and I've been predicting this over and over and over. I said governments don't want competition for their currencies. So when that happens, more and more countries get involved. You now have demonetized cryptos. Now, does that mean you shouldn't put any money in there? I don't know. I have not. I've chosen to go purely tangible, which cryptos are not tangible. And I want things that are easily evaluated. And that's why I've chose to stick with my real estate and physical precious metals and miners. I do have some ideas for some other investments in the stock market. I've learned about some battery technologies, solid state battery technologies that I found some companies that I think we ought to put a few dimes in or something, maybe $150, $200, something. So I've got those queued up, and I may throw a few things out on the side, kind of like we've talked about uranium. I got a few other ideas that I think we better stick some money out there. Yeah, we have short memories. Our country as a whole, we have very short memories, and we're doomed to repeat things because people are they're they think that there's shortcuts in life, which there is not. And the governments are horrible about doing this stuff. You know, they'll screw up, and then they got to make another decision, and they'll screw that up, and they just compounding their mistakes. So that's the problem. Actually, AGAU, man, that's not really true. It has to do with ounces, and it depends on each one of the things. So there's a report that I put together. I got to dig it up, and we'll go through that again so you understand what the rules are. Yeah, the ammo. I saw a really cool video where some guy came up to a car and knocked on the window and said, "Hey, I heard you have some ammo." And he had them like in these little dime bags. So he picked up some 9mm and 5.56, and it cost him like $300 in these little dime bags. I thought it was funny as hell. Great video. Yeah, what's up with the limited thumbs up? So we think the grid and internet's not going to be stable. Well, that's another thing, folks. You know me, I put some money into solar and batteries, and I'm hoping to even improve my batteries over the next couple of years so I can double the capacity. But right now I've got something. 45 minutes. No, it's actually it's a federal requirements. It has nothing to do with states. As the states have different requirements for tax purposes for state level taxes, but the federal government has rules that each of these dealers are supposed to be following. So Tribune O Plebs, let me suggest that we now have, for Eagles, there's no reporting for purchasing or selling, but for bars and rounds, there are. So Tribune O Plebs, this year, they proved that our voting no longer counts because they were reallocating our votes. So we now have no say. The government can raise taxes. They can do everything. Even the local governments can do anything they want because they'll say, well, this is what the results said, even though we all know we voted something different. So we have now been taken over, and there's nothing you can do. We are now screwed unless something happens, because right now the governments have full control and they could raise everything. They could do anything they want. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I'm looking at EV, because I've actually got my own solar plant. So, you know, I could potentially charge my, I can charge my car and be good to go. Something popped up in here and it's in the way. Oh, there we go. I know that there's a bunch of lawsuits going through, and I'm kind of watching some of that on the side, but it almost looks like it doesn't matter. We'll see. We'll see. I'm there. I mean, I'm still seeing some videos out there where they're saying that arrests are being made, the military's involved, and yada, yada, yada. But this is all hearsay. There's no way to know. You won't know until it's over. Oh, by the way, did you see what country was it where the military took over the government? That's got our government all crazy right now. Oh, I forget what country. Was that Myanmar or something? One of the damn countries the military took over, and they said it was, Burma. They said that they were using those damn Dominion things, and they said it was corrupted, and the military took over. So I'm telling you, you know, there's some examples across the world where people are fed up and they're doing some stuff. So we'll see. Yeah, I guarantee you this one won't be monetized. We're talking about all kinds of stuff. Oh, yeah, I saw the Time magazine thing too. That's ridiculous. They're admitting it. But they did it to uphold the country. Yeah, it does sound demonic, I have to admit. Well, I guarantee you I won't be going anywhere tomorrow because I got a feeling we're going to have probably close to a foot of snow out there. And that means that I don't know what the temperature is going to be tomorrow, but it's going to be a freaking sloshy mess. So I'll be just throwing logs on the fire and hanging out. Hopefully we'll have power in the morning. If not, I can still cook. I pulled out 2 chickens out of the freezer tonight, so I can cook chicken tomorrow. If I have to, I'll do them on a grill outside. Man, I haven't done chicken. How many of you have ever like split the breast and you lay it flat and you put it over the charcoal grill? Oh my God, that's like the best way. There used to be a place called Yaya's. Anybody ever go to Yaya's? They put oregano on their chickens. Oh, I used to love that. That was really good. Yeah, I took 2 of the chickens that I grew out of the freezer and I put them in the sink to thaw out. So I'm going to cook them on the grill tomorrow. Those ought to be excellent. I think depending on the temperature, may go in the oven, but I haven't done anything over charcoal in a while, and I love the charcoal flavor. And Super Bowl. And by the way, Tampa Bay Buccaneers playing home game in their stadium. That was my old stomping grounds over there. So Brady comes down, goes straight to the Super Bowl. That's pretty cool. You think they're going to take Kansas City? I think they might. Yeah, it's snowing here. It's actually sticking to the ground now because the temperature's dropped enough. I got to be careful when I go out on the porch to get some wood for my fireplace because it's going to be slippery out there. I don't want to bust my butt. Yeah, you're from Foxborough. You're invaded Tampa Bay. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, the dang defense on the Bucs have saved Brady in a couple of these games. They have been playing fantastic. So I think it ought to be an interesting game if the defense shows up. Because Brady's had some errant passes, and luckily the defense bailed him out. Oh, April 19th. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. I heard a lot of the governors were recalling their troops from Washington, too. So 5 houses up, still hasn't sold. So you saying this guy built 5 houses and they're all sitting there unsold? Oh, you learn to hate the Chiefs. Okay. Well, folks, we're right at it, getting close to an hour here. So I think we're going to shut her down. I got to go stoke all the wood stoves for the evening so that I don't have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Hope to keep the house nice and toasty in case power goes out. Oh, the travel trailers. That's kind of an interesting concept. You can pick up some cheap ones and cart them over there, huh? All right. So I hope everybody's treating you well. I hope you're doing well. Do the best you can. God bless.